Do you want to know the best way to set up your spacecraft when starting out and life not supported? I have the definitive best setup you can build, including a guide on how to navigate that will exponentially help you in the long run, so stay tuned to the end of this video. When floating through this asteroid field, it can be quite overwhelming trying to figure out how to build your ship to maximize its potential, but don't worry, my name is Shredded Cheese, and I'm a streamer over on Twitch, and a YouTuber who focuses on all things indie games. I have aimlessly floated through space long enough for the both of us. So grab your crowbar and a roll of duct tape because I'm about to break down what you need to do to maximize your spacecraft and teach you how to be a master pilot. So let's jump right in. When building your ship, it is crucial to consider a multitude of things, including maneuvering, food needs, and storage. In order to build all of these things, you have to collect a fair bit of resources, and I understand this will take some time. I would personally recommend building as you go about collecting resources. Start with the bare minimum like the foundation, food and water needs, and the ability to move. From there, you can expand your ship to include the storage and lighting needs. To build the entire ship I'm about to show you, you are going to need to gathering the following resources: 146 scrap metal, 20 electronics, 9 air tanks, 8 batteries, and 3 glass. Okay, at this point I have just about all the resources I need collected to be able to recreate my ship right here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that building phase. I'm going to start by just kind of coming a little ways away from my current ship just so it will let me build. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up the build menu. We're going to find the makeshift platform. It's right at the top. And then we're going to build 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all the floor we need. And then we're going to do makeshift walls on 1, 2 spots. So now we have a square with 2 walls on either side. This is going to make up the foundation of your ship. It's going to allow you to be able to fit everything in a nice compact area and still give you plenty of area on this side to be able to look around and see everything that's around. So there's those 2 spacecrafts over there that I've already gone ahead and looted. I can show you guys how I navigated over to those and what I did to collect materials off of it. With this building platform, it gives you enough room to be able to fit everything, but it's not so spread out that the ship becomes hard to manage, and its relatively symmetric area also makes it very easy to maneuver in multiple different directions at once if needed. Okay, I just had to jump back to my old ship because I was running low on my thirst levels. So that's going to be the next thing we want to tackle. We want to make sure we're able to make food, and we want to make sure that we're able to collect water. That way we can stay alive at this point. So we're going to go ahead, open the crafting menu. We're going to grab the crafting table, and we're just going to place it right up next to this wall as far back as you can get it. You can have it stick off if you want. So we're going to go ahead and place that down. You can see it can stick off the back a little bit, and we're right up against this edge. And we'll go ahead and finish that up. And then the other thing we're going to need is the basic ice melter. So this, we're going to want to face this way. We're going to want to make sure it's not on this line right here that separates the 2 panels. We want to be inside right here, and then just back it right up into the wall. Place that down. And then go ahead, use our materials to be able to build that up. And then I can insert a sip and some ice. Now I've got water on its way, and if I have the dehydrated food, I'll be able to craft it into a meal, and I'm not going to have to worry about my hunger or thirst levels anymore. The next thing I'm going to want to worry about is whether or not I can find this ship in the future if I happen to drift away from it. So we're going to scroll down, we're going to find the short-ranged beacon, and then we're just going to tuck it in right next to our crafting table here. As long as it's out of the way, it doesn't matter. If you want, you can throw it up on this top edge. Ideally, you'd want to keep this space open, and over here is going to be where our hydroponic growth and like food cooker is. So I'm going to leave that area open. Right here is a perfectly good spot to be able to just tuck everything in, make sure it's turned on. Now, if we get more than about 20 meters away, we'll be able to find where the ship is because there'll be the beacon showing where it is. Once you have all of this stuff built in and established, you'll be able to make food, you'll be able to make water, and then you can go ahead and get yourself settled in. I'm going to go ahead and make a rehydrated bean curry, and there we go. See, I'm already staying alive on this ship. All right, we are now ready to go ahead and build our hydroponic chamber and our oven. So we're going to go ahead and put these down right here. You can kind of see in the background my other ship where those are going to be placed. But we're going to go ahead and open up our build menu. We're going to grab the basic hydroponic chamber. We're going to spin this around. We don't want to run this into the wall, but we can go ahead and drop this backwards just to give ourselves a bit more room. And then we can go ahead and fill this in. You'll notice I'm missing a piece of glass, but that's okay. We can come over here, grab one. and go ahead. Now this is built up. We are going to have to add a hydroponic solution to it to be able to actually grow crops, but that's not a big deal right now. I can go ahead and get that done separately. And then the other thing we're going to want is an airlocked oven. Now we want to make sure we leave a little bit of room right here. So instead, I tend to just drop this right in front. So right about here, you can still reach into here, you can reach here, and you have plenty of room for some thrusters right there. So we're gonna go ahead and fill this out. I can see I'm short a piece of metal and a piece of glass. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab glass. And once we go ahead and grab those, we can go ahead, put everything in. I have a potato already, so I went ahead and placed one in there so you can see it is working. And then once we insert that, we can go ahead and plant a potato. That's gonna go ahead and start growing. This one has finished cooking. So now we've got plenty of renewable food. So the next thing I'm gonna worry about is with how full my inventory is, which it is starting to empty out now that I'm using these materials, but I'm gonna want somewhere to store my materials so that if I were to die, because if you notice my health is not full right now, I wanna make sure I have stuff on my ship ready to go if I cannot get back to my body. So we're gonna wanna make sure we add some storage. So I'm gonna go ahead, open the build menu. We're gonna find the small material shelf, and then we're gonna place 4 of these. So you can stick this right into the water maker. I set mine back a little bit just to help with everything looking nice and pretty. So we're gonna place 2 on this wall, and then we're gonna place 2 on this wall. We're gonna make sure these 2 are fairly high up so that we can fit stuff underneath. Same thing over here. And then we can go ahead, place these in. And once those are placed, we can go ahead and pick what we wanna put on all of this stuff. You can also place the feces if you have any, as well as a few other small items. You're not able to store metal or glass or ice. Those are going to be the next storage we want to build. So we're going to go ahead, open the build menu, get the small material holder, and we're going to place 1 for ice, 1 for glass, and then make sure you leave a gap, and you can place 1 for metal. So the reason you want a gap right here is that's going to be where one of your thrusters goes. And then this gap right here will give you enough room to be able to place down a tether in the future if you would so desire. So I'm going to go ahead and build these up, and it looks like I have a little bit of metal right now. I am going to need that for what we build next, but I can go ahead and say I want to place some ice over here. I can go ahead and select ice and place ice in there. And then let's say this one I want to do glass in here. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill this up with glass. And there we are. Now the last storage we're gonna need is air. So if we do a small air storage, we can go ahead and just drop this right here. It'll nicely fit underneath the shelf. If you do want to build a larger air storage, you are gonna have to make sure that the shelves are not in the way. Then once we go ahead and build this up, we can place some air tanks down. And now that I have all this built, notice it's pretty dark. We're gonna wanna light this area up. I'm going to open the build menu, and because I already have 1 light in my inventory, I'm just gonna go ahead and find the wall torch. And then I'm gonna come over here, and we're just gonna stick this right on the wall. Go ahead, attach our light. We can turn that on. We don't have to worry about the battery or anything for this. And now this area is lit up. You can go ahead and add another one over here if you so desire. Really now what we're looking for is how do we light up the area around outside of us? So in order to do that, we're going to want to open up our build menu. We're going to do the high powered torches. So I'm going to go ahead and just hop up here so it's a little easier to see what I'm doing. So this is going to be our general forwards. So I'm going to go ahead and drop down on this wall. And then we're going to want a light. Instead of going straight forwards, we're going to angle it just slightly, right about there. And go ahead, place that down. We're going to want to do the same on the back of our ship. We're going to go ahead, place one there. Once we hop over to this wall, we're just going to repeat the same process. We're going to make sure they're angled away from the ship slightly and go ahead, drop those down. Now I'm going to need to make more lights for this, but in the meantime, I can go ahead and fill in some of these other materials. So you can see there, I'm short a couple batteries and I need the lights. So I'm going to hop over to my other ship. We'll grab that, get that final battery in. And then we'll be ready to turn on all these lights and we'll be able to see what's around us. Okay, I got that final battery placed in, as well as I grabbed a few more because I know I'm going to need them. We can just hop over here, hit turn on. Once we turn all 4 of these on, you'll see we have a good level of light coming around all around our ship, and we're well lit up on our deck. So we are ready for the next stage. I also did forget, if you guys do want to place a tether down, you got plenty of room right here to do so. So I'm just going to go ahead, find myself the tether. You can place it either up on top or you can come around and place it on the side. I'm just going to make sure I keep enough room right here that it's not going to interfere with if I need to replace that that air thruster, so you want to make sure you have a gap on either side. Go ahead, place that down, tether yourself in. And now that we have our ship, it is nice and established. We got plenty of storage. We got plenty of spare room. We have no way of actually navigating around the vastness of space. What we're going to do is we're going to have to add some thrusters. And in order to move efficiently, we're going to need quite a few. So if you watch where I place all of these, I'll explain it in a little bit once I explain how to move. I want to make sure we're going on this cross right here. We're going to put one on each end. And then we're going to repeat this process, which you'll notice it sticks right through the wall. As long as it's sticking out on the other side, you're going to be okay. So we'll go ahead and mimic this. The way I kind of line it up is I place that bottom edge of the air tank right on that end of the little panel right there. And then once you have those four, you're going to be able to do all of your cardinal directions. So we can now go forwards, backwards, left, and right. However, we still need to be able to go up and down as well as make turns so that we can navigate more efficiently, because we have a much better view looking this way than if we were to look this way. In order to do that, we're going to go ahead and add two more. We're going to add one right here, and then we're going to flip around and make one more right here. Once we place these down, we are now able to use the two on the outsides to be able to rotate the ship, and then we just need one more to be able to go up and down. It doesn't matter exactly where you place this because the ship will not rotate around in a way that would prevent you from staying vertical. So anywhere on the ship you place that air tank, you're still just going to move vertically as if you're in an elevator. So we can go ahead and place that right there. And at that point, we have all the thrusters we need. Now that we are nice and established on our ship, we're going to want to go ahead and learn how to move around. We're going to want to understand the basic directions first. So in order to go forwards relatively, if this is the front of our ship and we say we want to go towards these spacecraft, we're going to go ahead and turn on the thruster on the far side. And you see it starts pushing us forwards, and then we can turn it off. Now we're going to keep drifting forwards because there's no resistance. So if we want to stop moving, we just have to fire the opposite direction. And you see, now that we've stopped, everything's still again. If we want to go left or right, we can do so. So now you can see we're moving towards the right. If we turn it back off, we're going to keep drifting right. How do we stop? We push back to the left. And now we're stationary again. If we want to go up or down, we can go ahead and just use this thruster. So now we're moving down relative to the spacecraft. Or if you press R, you can go ahead and use it to go up. So if we wanted to turn and go, say, towards my other spaceship, what you're going to do is you're going to think in terms of which direction it's going to push. So if this is going to be pushing, we're going to rotate that direction around our center. So we want to use this one, and you'll see we start rotating around. You can see the beacon from my other ship. It's rotating towards the front. And then if you were to turn this off, instead of continuing to rotate, you're going to continue to drift sideways. So now we're just going straight sideways. You can see my other ship is right down there. If we want to stop moving sideways, we just got to push to the other direction. There, now you can see I'm pretty stationary. If I want to get down there, I'm going to want to back up just a little bit. And then we can go ahead and lower ourselves down. And again, notice I'm only using small bursts and making corrections as I go. That way I can better understand. So now I can see I'm backing up too much. I'm going to give that myself a little push forwards. And now we're going to continue drifting down. It looks like we want to go a little to the right, so we're going to give ourselves a push to the right. And now we're drifting in. It looks like we're slowing down a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and give myself one small push down. And now it looks like we're cruising in perfectly. At this point, once we get within the 15 meters that the beacon's gone, it's plenty safe enough for you to go ahead and just jump out. As long as you do not have your thrusters running, that thing's not going to run away from you. I noticed that there's this spaceship up there, so I'm going to use this as a perfect opportunity to show you guys how to move the craft to get up to that location that's 157 meters away. So first thing I want to do is I want to make sure I start heading up and rotating towards this being the front, pointing towards that ship. So I'm going to want to turn, so I'm going to use the thruster on the corner. You can see I'm starting to rotate around, and then I'm going to flip this and give myself a kick up. You can see now I'm moving towards it. Now I can stop turning, and we're going to push forwards. You can see I'm still drifting that direction. Oh, I hit a rock. Now I'm rotating. Okay, got to fix the rotation. So stop pushing this way. We're going to turn all these off now. We're just going to let it coast because it looks like we're going to over-rotate. So I'm going to push back to stop my motion going that direction. And now I'm going to push myself straight up. And now that we're about 30 meters away, it's should be pretty safe for us to go towards it, but I can see I'm still drifting and oh! Well, that's interesting. I've never seen that happen before. At this point, you should have set up your ship for the maximum amount of success as the game progresses. Feel free to let me know down in the comments if you managed to get all of this done without dying. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks, and feel free to check out this video where I review Life Not Supported. I will see you all next time.